Everybody see that picture on the screen? It's a guy, right? Look at this dude. He's tied up, right? He got an arm tied up, left arm, left leg, right leg tied up. And then you have these horses, right, that are pulling it, right? He doesn't seem to be having a good time, right? Yeah, it doesn't look fun, right? You have these horses there pulling you all different directions, right? Well, does anybody know what that means? So what that is? Anybody? Right? Right? Look at his face, right? His face is like he's in pain. He's like, oh my God, I'm about to be pulled apart. So, in medieval European times, right? Now let's go back to the 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, right? Medieval Europe, they had so many different forms of torture, right? They would live by capital punishment, right? That still exists in certain states here. But basically, you commit a crime, your sentence is death. So there were these different torture methods that would happen in ancient, in medieval Europe. If you Google it, you see all these crazy things that they will make people sit on chairs with spikes and push them down and put pressure on them and all kinds of craziness. But this particular torture method, it was called distraction. Yeah, right? Interesting, right? It was called death by distraction. Your penalty, your sentence was called distraction. And what would happen is that they will tie each one of the limbs to the horses, and then they'll whip the horses, and the horses will go in every direction, and the person died, right? And they're ripping off your arms, your legs. So that is what we're going to talk about this morning. So the title of this message is simple: Help. I'm distracted. How many of us have felt this way before? 26 hours a day? January 1st through December the 32nd? Right? All the time, right? It's like you're getting pulled in one direction, you're getting pulled in another direction, and another direction, and another, and all these things always come up, and all of a sudden you have this responsibility, and you have that responsibility, and then you have this commitment, you have that commitment, and you have so many things happening in your life, and you're like, what do I do? Anybody ever been there before? Anybody been there before? Anybody been there where you just getting pulled in so many directions that you just end up burning out? That you just end up tired? That you're physically drained, you're mentally drained, you're stressed, you're hurting, and all these things. And you know what the best part about it is? That's the best part, but it doesn't stop. Just when you think like, okay, I've had enough, well, here comes a lot more responsibility, here comes a lot more work, here comes a lot more to do. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because a lot of us have been in this place. A lot of us might be in this place right now. And it's important for us to know how to handle these situations, how to handle being that man right there that's about to get torn apart in many different directions. How do we handle that? What do we do? But in order for us to have a solution to this problem, we need to identify it first, right? So what are we going to talk about? It's 4 simple points. What is distraction? What distractions are in your life? We're going to talk about the tragedy, and we're going to talk about how to overcome these distractions. So let's just get right into it. What is a distraction? You see this guy right here? he thinks he has milk, and he's pouring orange juice in his cereal. Right? He's focused on his newspaper, and he doesn't realize that, instead of pouring the orange juice in his cup, and he's putting it in his bowl. Distraction. It's a thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else, right? You want to do one thing, and then something else comes up, and it pulls your attention from it, right? You got distracted, God, I'm here, and I want to serve you, but all of a sudden life comes. God, you're not important anymore. I got to deal with this situation first, right? Something that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. What's our goals? What's our purpose in this world as a Christian? What are we supposed to do as Christians in this planet? Spread the good news, right? People are supposed to know that who you are wherever you go, right? And even if you don't say it, but the way you carry yourself, the way you act, your actions, right? Everybody heard that saying, right? Your actions speak louder than words. I'm a firm believer in preaching without words. Let your actions do the talking for you. Let your actions back up what you're about to say. Let's not just go ahead and start promising things away. How about let's just put the action first. And then we could go later on, because then when you start promising things to somebody else, then all of a sudden, you know what, your actions are backing up what you're saying. It's important. What else is distraction? Something that amuses or entertains you so that you do not have to think about problems, work, etc. So now you have so much going on, and you're just stressed out, and you can't have it anymore. And all of a sudden, you need something to do. You need that gateway, right? So it's a different form of distraction, right? Because now you're looking to get away, right? Looking to get away, right? I'm so fed up, God, that my home is just a mess. I'm gonna get away to the first bar I see. Oh, I'm gonna get away, and I'm gonna call my old dealer. Oh, I'm gonna get away, and I'm gonna go back to that person that treated me like garbage, but I love the affection they give me. Oh, I'm gonna run back to those friends who don't have any good intentions for me, but they take me in, and they act like they like me, and I enjoy being around them. What else is it? Extreme agitation of the mind or emotions. You could just totally be drained. We've seen plenty of cases, right? People are just drained. People are just mentally exhausted, and all of a sudden you end up making mistakes, right? So what if you work in the medical industry, and all of a sudden you're burned out and you're exhausted, and you make a mistake, and you give your patient the wrong prescription, and the person takes it and dies? What happens? Or how about the contractors in the house that if you're working somewhere and you don't set up a certain point or angle or something like that in the structure you're putting together, and you mess up and all of a sudden it falls. And all of a sudden the first person that walks up there slips, this thing does not hold up, and they fall and they die. What if you're driving? What if you're driving and your phone goes off? Hey, how's it going? How you been? Oh yeah, everything is great. And not realizing that you're about to get into an accident. And not only that though, but you're going to hurt yourself, but you're also hurting somebody else on the road. And lastly, it's a state in which you are very annoyed or upset. Who's ever been there before? You've just been so upset that you can't even focus. Let me tell you, man, that's a very dark place to be in. It's a very dark place. It's not a nice place to be in. And I tell you, because I've been there before. And it sucks. Quite frankly, it sucks. It's not a nice place to be when all you're thinking about is just negative thoughts. This is happening, that's not happening, and all of a sudden you just catch yourself drained, and you're like, you can't even think, because all you're thinking about is the problem, right? All you're thinking about, it's kind of like me having this being my problem, right? And all of a sudden the problem's in my face. So now I'm dealing with it. Now you're like, oh my God, I can't see nothing else. I look here to see the problem. I look this way, I see the problem. I look over here, I see the problem. Right? That's how it is. But once you put it in perspective later on, this problem becomes small. Now I have a clear vision. Now I can see what's going on. So, distraction. As we learned, ancient times, it was torture. It was capital punishment. It was death. Research it. So, what distractions are in your life? See them, right? What distractions are in your life? By the way, that's Gears of War, the video game that Homer's being distracted on. What distractions do we have in our lives? Number one, work. So let's just call work the right arm. Right? You got it tied up? Work. You have responsibilities, right? You have to live. You have to make money because, you need money to live in this world, right? You need money to survive. You need money for a place. You pay rent. You're paying mortgages. You got bills. You got car insurances. You got phone bills. You got utilities. Everything in this world is money, so you need to work. Work is not a bad thing. Once work consumes you and work becomes your life, which I can raise my hand, sometimes work is my life, and I don't like it. And I don't like it because I know that when work becomes my life, it takes me away from everything else I'm supposed to be doing. And it's tough, right? It's tough because, you want to be dedicated, right? You have a career. You want to dedicate yourself to your career, whatever it is that you're doing, and you want to make sure that you're doing the best of it, right? You're doing, I just want to give it my all. I want to show my boss that I'm a good worker. I want to show my boss that I'm worth the money. I'm worth the raise. I'm worth everything, right? So we get focused on that, right? And to the point where all of a sudden we just work, and then you're not seeing your family. Let me tell you, man, one thing that I do not like at all is when I'm coming home late multiple nights in a row, and I'm like, man, I just missed another night at home. You know, because you're just getting home, you're getting home and you're just going to sleep. You know, and then you get to do it all over again the next day, and same thing happens again, right? So you just get so consumed, right, with work and working and working, which is not a bad thing, but you need to balance it out. You need that balance, you know, and if you don't have that balance, guess what? This is going to pull you and pull you and pull you and pull you, and all of a sudden you're going to be pinned. Okay, you got my right arm. What's media? What's media? Media's the left arm, right? So now you're pinned, right? Now you're pinned with two arms, right? So media, right? What's media? Everybody's familiar with the term social media, right? But this is not only social media. It's media. It's TV, right? It's the radio, right? That's media. Do you know that the average household in the United States watches 45 hours of TV a week? 45 hours. That's like 5 overtime hours for those that work 40-hour weeks. 45 hours a week we spend watching TV. You're at dinner on your phone. Somebody's texting me. Oh, somebody posted something on Facebook. Oh, somebody did something on Instagram. Oh, look what she's doing on Twitter. And all of a sudden, now we're getting sucked into our phones, right? Like I said, I'm a fan of technology. I love it. I love the fact that you can have the world at the palm of your hands, right? You have this constant stream of information that's always coming through your phones, right? That you know what's going on at all times, right? Kind of the things that John was seeing, you know, back when he got Revelation, right? He was seeing all these things happening, right? So nowadays, an event happens, and you see it on social media in less than 5 minutes. And you're seeing videos, and you're seeing pictures, and you're seeing Facebook Live, and all these things, right? So when we're at home and we're supposed to be spending time with our loved ones, with our children, with our spouses, and instead of spending time with them, you're spending time on your phone. So it's like you're here, and she's here, and then your kids are here. And all three of you guys are just staring into your tablets, into your phones, and there's no communication. There's none of that is happening anymore. That is a distraction, my friends. That is a huge distraction. Does everybody remember the days before that? Everybody remember the days of beepers? that was the only distraction, right? You're just writing hello on the beeper, right? But before that, you would sit at your table and you would actually look at each other and talk. That's why I love that commercial. I think it's one of those wireless carriers commercials where they say, okay, well, we're going to an island somewhere and there is no Wi-Fi. And all of a sudden the kids are like, oh my God, there's no Wi-Fi. What are we going to do? Talk and look at each other, you know, but little do we know that it's becoming a huge distraction in our lives. How many times don't we go and try to spend quality time with people and catch ourselves sucked right into our phones? You know, I have this one thing that, you know, my wife and I, we do at times is, you know, we challenge ourselves. We're like, hey, let's go to dinner and don't look at your phone. Let's do it. I challenge all you guys to do it. Next time you go out, don't look at your phones. Put your phone away. Put it away. Because that's stealing from your marriage. It's stealing from your family. Put it away. You know, and obviously I'm not going to tell you something if I'm not doing it, right? So I was getting sucked into social media again. And the thing about social media is that, you know, when I first got into it, like way back, way back, it was something where it was like, all right, you know what? I mean, only students had it, right? So you went to this school and you went to that school and your school had, you know, had a group there on Facebook, and then the other school had a group on Facebook. And that's what it was, right? It was like a school thing, right? And then eventually it blew up. Genius. It connected the whole world, right? And the rest is history. But social media now has become a place where you find everything. All you got to do is hit like, and it gives you 10 other pages of things you like. So you like basketball, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to like the NBA's page, and all of a sudden you have 32 other teams that are saying, hey, you want to like me? Right? It's constant stream of information, right? So nowadays you look into it and you're like, all right, not only now I'm seeing my friends and seeing what they're up to, but now I'm getting the news and I'm getting sports and I'm getting everything, weather and everything else on this thing. So now you're spending even more time. You know, when it was originally intended just to keep in touch with your friends, now you're getting everything on social media. Like I said, it's a beautiful thing, it is, if you learn how to control it, because that thing will suck you right in, and next thing you know, you just spend your entire dinner time on your phone, away from your family, away from your loved ones, right? In your own little world. So we need to be careful. We need to be very, very careful about that. Because it will mess with you. I've seen Facebook ruin lives. All of a sudden that friend, quote unquote, from 10 years ago starts popping up, sending you a friend request. All of a sudden, oh yeah, that was my friend. You accept, and all of a sudden your spouse, your loved one is like, wait, what the heck is that? What are you doing? What are you to be talking to so-and-so? And the problems begin. So I highly recommend, spouses, if you're married, share an account. No, don't have anything to hide. So we shouldn't. We should be transparent. So now we're pinned with work, and now we're pinned with media. Oh my goodness. Pursuing money. Who likes money here? Who likes money here? Right? We need money to live. But the pursuit of money should not distract us from living a life that's fruitful, a life that's good. Like I said, money is great. But even the Bible says, right, that the love of money is the problem. The love of money is the problem. Say money's the root of... You hear the world tell you that, right? Money's the root of all evil. It's because of money. No, money's not the root of all evil. It's the love of money. Get that, and make sure you capture that. The love of money is the root of all evil. So now the love of money is keeping you away from your family. It's keeping you away from what you're supposed to be doing. It's keeping you away from your calling with God. It's keeping you away from the things that you're supposed to be doing for Him. That's a problem. Let me tell you. I had a season many years back where I disappeared from New Beginnings. The entire fall season I disappeared. And it wasn't by choice. I was working. I literally had an obligation that I had to work every Sunday for 16 weeks. And during those 16 weeks, I walked out on the church. I'm like, you know what, I'm out. You know what, I've had it, I don't like it. There's a lot of things that are not right. But it was during those 16 weeks, right, those 4 months, where we disconnected. I disconnected. And because I disconnected pursuing money, because we were working, those are long days, and trust me, till this day we get those offers, and we're like, nah, sorry, I'm good. I'm good. God, bless me Monday through Saturday. Give me my Sundays. Give me my time to come in and serve and do what you're supposed to be doing. I know sometimes there's extreme situations that we have to do what we got to do, and hey, roll up your sleeve and work, right? Because God honors the diligent, right? Honors the diligent. If you're working and you're diligent, God is going to honor you. He's going to open up doors for you. He's going to bless you. He's going to bless you. And then once you get through that season, and it's time for your evaluations, and it's time to talk to your bosses about what's coming up, and all of a sudden your boss loves you. I love what you did for me. I'm going to honor that. How do you honor it? Show me the money, money, money. So, we're pinned. Work, media, your left leg's pursuit of money. Hobbies. Who has hobbies? Hobbies are cool. It's cool, I used to love music. Music was my hobby. Right? I used to love it. Turntables and mixing and recording and doing all these awesome things, right? And we all have them. Whether it's a certain sport, maybe you like watching sports, maybe you like going fishing, or you like going to go hunting, or there's different activities that you do and you have. But once again, when this hobby becomes more important than God, we have a problem. We have a problem. And I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. We need to prioritize what's more important. Trust me, I get invites all the time. Hey, come to the game Sunday afternoon. I can't. I have responsibility in the morning. My God is more important than a football game. Amen? So that's what we need to do. And obviously, I don't go around telling you guys this. But since we're here, we're talking about it, let's be real. Who doesn't like money? Sacrifice, right? Sacrifice. This is a sacrifice. For some of us to be here right now, it's a sacrifice. So now we're pinned, both legs and both arms, and then we have relationships. Who's here ever been in a relationship that's just thrown you so much off track of what you're supposed to be doing? Right? We've all had those. We've all had those people that have come into our lives and just totally derailed you from what you were doing. All of a sudden you were doing so good, and then all of a sudden you met this person and boom, you were thrown off track. And now you feel even worse because you were actually trying to do good for yourself, and so-and-so came, threw you off, and now you're like, now you're in that hole again, but now you're a lot deeper. We need to be wise with who we let into our lives. If you're letting people into your life that are just taking from you and consuming you and taking everything, then you need to check that. Check it at the door. Ask God for discernment. Discernment of spirits, discernment of characters. Because there are going to be those people that are going to come in like leeches and try to take and suck and suck and suck. Kind of like politicians, right? Politics. Let me not go there. I was just going to say a tick is a blood-sucking animal and poly means, but let me not go there. So relationships, we got to be careful. We got to be careful with who you let in your life. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. You're letting destruction in your life? If you know that somebody comes into your life and they're totally not doing what they're supposed to be doing and you're trying to help them and you see that you can't help them, stop it. They don't want help. Plain and simple. You know, either they want it or they don't. We can't force people to change. We can't force people to want something. You can't force people to want to do anything. It has to come from within. Relationships. That was the bonus. That's the man's head getting inside off right there. So, distractions. I want to take you to a story here on Luke 10. And it's a story that I'm pretty sure we've all heard before. We've all read about it. On Luke 10, out of the Amplified Bible, verses 38 through 42, the word says, "Now while they were on their way, Jesus entered a village called Bethany. A woman named Martha welcomed him into her home." Everybody knows where we're going. "She had a sister named Mary who seated herself at the Lord's feet and was continually listening to his teaching. But Martha was very busy and distracted with all of her servant responsibilities. And she approached him and said, 'Lord, is it of no concern to you that my sister has left me to do the servant alone? Tell her to help me and do her part.' But the Lord replied to her, 'Martha, Martha.'" Interesting study on that. Anytime God calls you twice, yeah. So I got a little homework for you. This happens in Scripture 10 times. Go find out the other 9 times when it happens, and you'll see what the circumstances are. Just a little side note. Just look it up. But the Lord replied to her, "Martha, Martha." Kind of like when your parent calls you by your first and last name. "You come here. You're worried and bothered and anxious about so many things. But only one thing is necessary. For Mary has chosen the good part, that which is to her advantage, which will not be taken away from her." So, the greatest enemy against our spiritual life is distraction. Plain and simple. Distractions. Jesus, the Lord, God, comes into this place, says, "I'm here. Listen to me. I have a message for you." And we're busy on our phones, or we're busy checking our emails, or we're busy just having our minds somewhere else, or we're busy on Facebook, or we're busy on Twitter, or we're busy on Instagram. Meanwhile, God is talking to you. He's like, "Yo, I have something for you." But we're like Martha. "Oh, yeah, Lord. You know what? Yeah, you're hearing, but you're not listening." God wants us to listen because he doesn't want us to miss out on what he has for us. And a lot of us are missing out because we're not here. We might physically be here, but our minds are somewhere else. We need to, and I stress this, we need to keep our eyes on him. So here we have Jesus showing up to your house. What happens if God was to come to your house? What happens if Jesus was to show up at your house? What are you going to do? Are you going to be like, "Hello, God, okay, I got to go back to cleaning"? That's what happened, right? Can you imagine what Martha must have been thinking? Can you imagine that? Martha was probably mad. She's like, okay, well, here's Jesus. My sister Mary, okay, she'll probably just talk to him, maybe say a couple of words. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? And she was expecting her sister to come back. But her sister didn't come back. Her sister sat at the Lord's feet. So she was mad. She was annoyed. She was annoyed at her sister because now she wasn't helping her. But she was also irritated with Jesus because she said, Lord, why don't you tell her something? We need to connect with them. Mary made a fundamental decision about her life. Fundamental. Are you going to look to him? Or are you going to look at everything else you got to do? If God is there in front of your face, are you going to focus on anything else? Lord comes to my face, Lord, you got my attention. You want me to stay here for 10 hours? I'll stay here for 10 hours and I'll listen to you. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to throw away an opportunity. You know, and every Sunday we have that opportunity. We have the opportunity to draw close to him. Why are we ignoring it? Why are we pushing it away? Why are we letting the enemy come in and take that away from us right away? See, the word does not say that she was too busy. The word does not say that she was overcommitted. Right? The word says that she was distracted. Let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 4, verse 3 to 6. Now, this is Jesus speaking. Hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass as he showed, some fell by the wayside, the side of the road, right? And the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. And some fell on stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately sprang up, because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched. And because it had no root, it withered away. So we're all familiar with it, right? One seed is thrown by the planter, the sower, drops the seed. That's the word, right? The word gets dropped. You hear it, and then it gets snatched away. The second one, the seed is dropped. It took no root. So it grew, and it sprung up really fast because it wasn't deep enough. It wasn't rooted properly. So what happens when things got bad, scorched away and died. This parable is the parable that Jesus told his disciples, look, if you don't get this one, you're not going to get any of them. If you get this one and understand this one, then you're going to get the rest of them. See, Jesus spoke in parables. He didn't tell you things like, hey, you straight up. He spoke in parables. You all know what parables, right? It's words with a spiritual meaning, right? So you're saying certain words, but it's a deeper spiritual meaning. You could just expand on that and go crazy, right? But his disciples are like, Lord, can you explain this to us? We heard you give it to the people, but now we want to know. So further down in that same chapter, he breaks it down. So on verses 14, it says, now Jesus is telling them, the sower soweth the word. And these are they by the wayside, where their word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan comes immediately and takes it away, the word that was sown in their hearts. How many of you have ever had a situation happen? You're in church. You're loving it. This word is great. This word is for me. I'm applying it. And then as soon as you step outside, it's just snatched right from you. The first person that cut you off, or the first wrong move, and you snap, and all of a sudden, everything that you just got, everything that you just received just gets taken. Parents, I ask you this. If you have something in your hand and your child snatches it from you, what do you do? Back in the days, it was bam, bam. So how are you going to feel when you receive something from God and you step outside in the first moment, the first thing that happens, all of a sudden the devil just takes it right from you? I've been there before. Not a nice place to be at. Because it makes you feel like, okay, so what am I doing? Well, we need to know that the battle is not in the flesh. The spiritual. So anything that's sown into you, anything that you're taking, you're receiving, and you're like, all right, I'm going to apply this in my life. The devil's going to try to step right in and take it from you before it even takes ground. On verse 16, and these are they likewise which are sown into stony ground, who when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and have no root in themselves. So they endure but for a time, and afterwards, when affliction or persecution arises, for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. Right? So, again, we have people that said that they'll come and like, yeah, Lord, this is great, this is great, this is great, and everything goes fine and dandy, and then all of a sudden the first situation happens, and all of a sudden you're out the door. All of a sudden, God forgets you. I don't want to hear about you. I got to handle this on my own. So the reason I'm talking about these two seeds is because distraction is going to do that to you. If you're distracted, the devil is going to have a field day with you. He's going to go ahead and snatch everything away from you. You got a blessing? You got a job? The devil's going to come around and say, he's going to come try to take it. Or you just got a breakthrough. God spoke to you today. Well, when you step outside, get ready for it. Because that's when it really goes down. And here we're saved. This is our safe zone. Out there, as soon as you walk out that door, it's a whole different ballgame. We cannot be distracted. We cannot be distracted. Be focused. Oh my God, did I just say that? The tragedy. So the tragedy in this story is that Martha is striving tirelessly to serve Jesus. And she misses seeing him and knowing him. She was busy serving everybody else that God showed up to your place and you're just like, listen, let me tell you, man, God shows up in my place. I'm dropping everything. And that's sad. But the reality is that many of us are just like Martha. We're busy, and we're serving, and we're doing all these other things, but we're not connecting with Him. And if we're not connecting with Him, we're distracted. What is distracting you? What is bothering you? What is bothering you tonight? Well, what is bothering you so much that you cannot see the bigger picture? Let's not focus on the little things that are happening in our lives right now. God has done too much for us to be bothered by little. Why are we so bothered then? Sometimes we're doing good things. We're serving others. We're working hard, but we cannot forget to keep our spiritual eyes open. It's great that we do all these awesome things. If you look at that image, you see this couple, they have their bags ready. They're ready to go. They're going on their cruise. They're going on their ship, and wait a minute, they missed it. Do you want to be that person that when it comes down to meeting God and getting your ticket to heaven, do you want to be on that boat and make your way to heaven? Or do you want to be that person that the doctor's just looking and seeing everybody else get in? Why don't you let God be the captain of your ship? And I guarantee you that you'll be in that boat. And you'll be there with Him. Amen? We need to keep an eye open for what Jesus wants to teach us. See, Jesus has something for them that day. Mary, she got it. Martha, she didn't. And what Martha do? Get mad. It's there. It's the Word. Dissect it. Look it up. Do whatever you want. But it's there. That was the whole tragedy about Martha. The fact that she was distracted. The fact that God showed up. God said, I'm here. And she didn't see it. How many times has God not showed up in your life and we haven't seen it? How many of us have received the miracle? Anybody? Anybody? Received the miracle? Received things that you would have thought never would have happened and they happened? How many of us? How many of us? Then why are we not seeing Him? We've received all these amazing things. We've seen all these awesome things that God could do, and yet we're not focused on Him. Man, did I just say that again? How do we overcome distraction? See the very bottom there in red? focus. Focus is the opposite of distraction. Focus is the opposite of death. Distraction, right? It's a torture method, right? Distraction was capital punishment. Distraction was going to get you killed. Focus is the opposite. How do we overcome? At his feet. You're like, what does that mean? What is that at his feet? What are you talking about? At his feet, one thing? Let's go back into the story again. Now, back to Luke 10, 38, 42. Let's go back into it now, right? Because we just talked about Martha. But I mean, there were two people in the story, right? Right? You had Martha and then we had Mary, right? You saw how Martha was distracted, right? And you see how distractions could just throw us off completely, could throw off our game plans, right? You could be doing so good, and then another distraction comes and it just throws you right out, right? Because see, if you're not distracted, the enemy is going to come and snatch away your blessings left and right. You could be doing so well, you get distracted, the enemy is going to be there, boom, boom. Why? What is the enemy described as, right? Right? The devourer, right? The devourer that walks around, right, like a roaring lion, right? And he's just looking to destroy you. He's just looking to just end it. Forget about you. I don't care about you. I want to kill you. Why does the devil want to kill you? Because you remind him of God. You were made in his image. So he sees you. He's reminded of him. All right. Back to the same verse again, right? Luke 10, 38 to 42. Now, while they were on their way, Jesus entered a village called Bethany, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary, who seated herself at the Lord's feet. Wait a minute. At his feet? At his feet, right? At the Lord's feet. Now, there's something interesting about that at the Lord's feet, right? It's not a description of where she's sitting at or where in the room Jesus is at. She made a decision. She made a decision. So to sit at someone's feet, it was an expression. Maybe first century Judaism. It was an expression that indicated a relationship between a rabbi and a disciple. So when you were at somebody's feet, there was a saying, right, that they used to use back then, and it was a saying, it was a blessing, right? You would bless somebody by saying this. And the saying was that, said, may you be covered with the dust of your rabbi. You see, back in those times, to be a disciple of a rabbi, you had to go through a process. So at 4 years old, you were dedicated. At 4 years old, you were dedicated to this. And for the next 9 years, you were studying. So by the time the child was 14 years old, he already knew the Bible, left and right back in those times. And at that age, the rabbi would then choose and say, okay, who's going to be my disciple? And he wouldn't choose a bunch of them. He'd just choose maybe one or two. Okay, they're ready. He hasn't, and he hasn't. Everybody else, to the pool of rejects. And it's just funny because, you talk about rejects and all the people that Jesus used. Obviously, them guys must have tried, and they didn't make it. But as a disciple, you were to learn from your rabbi. Your rabbi taught you everything. You wanted to be like your rabbi. You aspired to be like your rabbi. You're supposed to learn everything from your rabbi. If your rabbi was handling finances, you were right there with your rabbi seeing how he handled it because you basically needed to emulate him. Your life needed to be just like your rabbi's life. And even in Acts 22:3, right, Paul, everybody knows Paul, right? 13 books in the New Testament, Paul? Yeah, Paul, he says, I am verily a man which I am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in the city at the feet of Gamaliel. So Gamaliel was his rabbi. So he studied under him. Right? So what we're seeing happening here is that Mary is focusing on so the rabbi focuses on the teachers of his mentor. Right? So to sit at someone's feet, right? To sit at someone's feet, it just meant that you were a student, that you were a protege, that you were a disciple. Right? And then the intent of the disciple was just to learn from his rabbi. So The one thing that Mary chose, right? Because now we know what the Lord's sitting at the Lord's feet, right? That means that you're a student of God, right? So when Jesus walks in there, she sits at his feet. It's just saying, Lord, I'm here to be a student of yours. Lord, I'm here to be your disciple. Lord, I'm here because I want to learn. I want to apply. That is what it is to be at the Lord's feet. So step number one for us is to accept and want to be a disciple, a student, a protege. How many of us want to be a disciple of Jesus? How many of us are walking in our calls? Everybody here has calls. Everybody here God has spoken to. We know what we're supposed to be doing. Why are we not doing it? One thing. Verse 40, but Martha was very busy and distracted, as we know, with all her servant responsibilities, and she approached him saying, Lord, is it of no concern to you that my sister has left me to do the serving alone? Tell her to help me and do her part. But the Lord replied to her, Martha, Martha, you're worried and bothered and anxious about so many things, but only one thing is necessary. One thing is necessary. The one thing for Mary was walking through life being aware of God's presence. Mary was ready to recognize him. Mary was ready to learn. Mary was ready to apply. Martha was not doing anything bad. She just wasn't involving Jesus in what she was doing. She was preoccupied with other things. Similar to us, right? Martha's a follower of Jesus. She invited Jesus into her home, right? She said, Jesus, come to my home. I got something for you. But she was too distracted to notice God's presence right in front of her. She was not a bad person. She was just distracted. So we know that we need to come to the Lord's feet. And we need to always, that one thing is to always have his presence. His presence is always there. Omnipotent, omnipresent. He's there. Everywhere. Are you taking it and are you applying that to your life? Are you bringing God with you everywhere you go? Is God part of your equation?
Joining the NBMI experience today. Like, comment, and subscribe at www.facebook.com/NBMINY or our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NBMICHURCH. Also check out our new and improved website at www.newbeginningschurches.com. And finally, check out our new awesome church app, available on both Android and Apple platforms. Search your app store for NBMICHURCH and be blessed.